My name is Bernie Levy. I'm here for the Jewish Historical Society Oral History Project, and I'm in the home of Pearl and Joe Leferson on Sterling Place in Stamford. Pearl and Joe have been in Stamford for about 70 years, although they didn't originate here, and we're going to speak to them about what their backgrounds are and what they know about Stamford. Hi Pearl, how you doing?
Oh, hi Bernie, good. How you doing?
Doing fine, other than when I'm in an air-conditioned house at least. Pearl, tell us about your background, your parents, and your childhood before you got to Stamford, although we won't dwell on that part.
No, I was just born and bred in Brooklyn, born in the Jewish hospital in Brooklyn, and raised, lived there until I was married. Then my husband rescued me out of Brooklyn. And I don't know what to tell you about my childhood. I have two sisters, younger, I was the oldest, very self-sufficient. My mother had no time to take care of me. She had two younger kids, so I did everything on my own.
Okay. And where were your parents from originally?
Poland.
Okay.
I believe it was Poland. I never can be sure if it was Poland or Russia.
Right. And that's true of a lot of people. I mean,
Yeah.
the borders changed a lot.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How did you meet Joe?
Blind date. A friend of mine had a date with a fella that was going to school with Joe. And Joe was living in New Jersey, so he spent the weekend with this other fella, and we double dated.
Okay. How long did you court?
Well, I was just a kid. He didn't know I was only 15 and a half when I met him. And we just on and off, we wrote to each other. He was in New Jersey, I was in Brooklyn. That was a long way. Those days, no Merritt Parkway, no 95.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so so you met Joe, and shortly thereafter you moved to Stamford.
not until I was 21.
Well, I didn't
Well,
mean
we were
that
married.
shortly after you were married,
Yes,
is what I meant to say.
right.
So what are some of your early memories of Stamford? What did you do as a relatively young couple in Stamford?
No. I know when my mother came to visit, we took her down to Pacific Street, and when she wanted to buy chicken, she had to go into in the back room there and pluck her own chicken on Pacific Street. Do you remember that?
Yes, Brazils.
You had to pluck your own chicken.
A do-it-yourself chicken.
Yeah. And we used to go, on Sunday morning, we'd go down to Carp's and get hot rolls. That was always a treat. We'd eat half of them before we got home. Did you know the Carp's when it was on Pacific Street?
I wasn't here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was here. Okay. What besides Pacific Street, what else do you recall about Stamford that was then and isn't now, for instance?
It's a small town. Now it's like New York. I don't know.
Where did we live, on Forest Street?
Oh yeah, we just had a room, and then we had a little a 3-bedroom apartment after that, and then we came here to Springdale and bought this house.
Did you belong to a synagogue early on?
No, not until we had children, and then we had to send them to
Sunday school?
Sunday school. We belonged to Bethel then, when they were down on the Prospect Street. And I remember we sent our son, and he wanted no part of it, and he climbed out of the window during Sunday school. So that didn't work too well.
Okay. And what have you been active in during your life in Stamford? You yourself?
You got a job.
Well, I was working with Joe. He had his own business. And was
Before
running,
that, you worked for a lawyer, did you?
well, when we first were married, I commuted to New York.
Okay.
And the commutation ticket was $14, something like that, for a month, round trip. I remember that. I think I was making $7 a week. And we were able to save with that. Between Joe's money and mine, we saved.
Very good. And later on, did you work you worked in his business here or?
Once he started his own business,
Yeah.
yeah, then I ran.
That was in Stamford?
In Stamford. Then I did the office. I did everything in the office.
That was the rest of your career?
Yes,
Other than
in Stamford, yeah.
Being a mother?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see, how many children do you have?
2.
What are they, ages and
Our son is
sexes?
68. I didn't expect to live long enough to have a son on Social Security. He lives in Torrington. Our daughter is in Virginia. She's teaching nurses right now. She's had a fantastic career. She started out a nurse and then a Navy nurse and then a scuba instructor in St. Thomas. She ran a dive shop. Then she became a pilot for United. She was captain at United.
Oh, really?
And now she's back to nursing, teaching nurses.
Oh, great.
Quite a career. Yeah,
What an interesting life.
yeah.
All right, now this says something, it looks like it says, oh, non-credit college courses in Stanford. So
Well, I always took different courses, yeah.
have you gone to learning and retirement things?
Oh, yes, we've done those.
Okay.
What brought you to Stamford?
Joe got a job at Maclet.
Oh.
And he said when he was making $23 a week, we could get married. He was living in a room there, so as soon as he made his $23, we were married and I came to Stanford.
When you bought this house, how much did you pay for it?
What was it, 12,
13,000.
13,000, something like that. We were renting a house down the end of the street, and the people wanted it, they didn't want to rent it anymore, they wanted to move in themselves. And so we had to make a fast decision. This was for sale, so we just bought it.
What are some of your other, what have been or are some of your other hobbies or volunteer activities?
I'm a duplicate bridge player.
Both of you?
No, just me.
Oh, I meant you. That's a joke, sort of.
Oh,
Duplicate. I don't know what that means because I don't play bridge.
oh, it's bridge, bridge. It's tournament bridge.
Okay. What else? Says Brownie leader? I guess when your daughter was
Well, and the kids
Brownie.
were small, we were all involved with all their activities. And when
Okay.
Joe was a fireman, a volunteer, I was involved in the fire department.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Well,
Okay.
why don't you work on Joe for a while?
We'll work on Joe.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Pearl. Hello, Joe.
Okay. What can I tell you?
Oh, you can probably tell me a lot. I mean, you can even duplicate some of what Pearl said if it's, you know, if you want. But tell me about your parents, their origins.
Well, as Pearl said, my mother was from Holland, and my father was from Lithuania. And he came to the Netherlands and became a member of the Queen's Guard, Queen Wilhelmina. So one day he was on a parade, and he marched along my present wife, and Pearl was at the sidelines.
Not me, Joe.
Huh?
Your mother.
I mean
Not
my
me.
mother. Same thing.
Yeah.
She was on the sidelines and saw him coming, and she had a sandwich, so which she offered to him in the parade. He took it. That developed into an acquaintance and a romance, and they got married and both came to the United States. And he was a tailor. He became a tailor. And later on, when I grew up in New Jersey, this was in New Jersey, I used to drive for our tailor shop, picking up clothes to be cleaned and so forth and so on. Because Point Pleasant, New Jersey was where we lived. It was a summer resort, so during the summer we made enough money to last over the winter. And we had a good time, and I went to the Point Pleasant Beach High School, graduated with honors. I went to college in Long Branch Junior College, and that was only a 2-year college. I graduated from that. From there I had a friend working up here in Connecticut, in Stamford, for Maclet Laboratories. So he called me one day and said there were some openings, and did I want a job? So I immediately went up there, applied for the job, and got it. And I was working there for a while, and eventually I worked my way up to be a project engineer for developing new tubes and so forth. I worked there during the war. At the beginning of the war, we were making tubes for radar systems. Radar systems were just barely making its appearance. It was a real secret thing. I was assigned to go up to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where they were designing the radar equipment. So I took a couple of tubes up there, spent some time up there, and watched what they did with it, which was fantastic. When I came back, I was made a project engineer. So I worked for Maclet, I don't know how many years, 10 years, 12 years, something like that. After which I became a radio amateur, a ham radio operator as a hobby. That put me in the electronic field, so I decided to open my own business. I became a Motorola service station, so I could install and maintain fire department, public works equipment, police department radios, and that sort of thing, which was my business. And I kept that up for a while until I got old enough to leave it, in which case I gave it to my son, the business to my son, who took over. And when my son went to college and became an electronic engineer, he worked for Hazeltine.
Talk to the camera a little bit.
He worked for Hazeltine company, who designed sonar equipment for submarines, killer submarines. And my son was quite active in that. In fact, once he was assigned to go on a submarine that was having trouble with their sonar equipment. So he was made a temporary lieutenant or something, and he was put in a submarine, and he went on a cruise with him. During the war, this was. Got the thing working, and he was quite happy about that. So after I got through with Maclet, as I say, I opened my own business and was the Motorola service station. We serviced a lot, and I gave it to my son upon my retiring from the business. And that's where I've been ever since. I've been on a ham radio. I've been on the air talking to people around the world, handling messages for people, and that sort of thing. And now I'm into computers. I love computers. I have a computer. Pearl has a computer. So I email all my friends. They email me. I get all kinds of stuff on the computer, good and bad. And that's where we stand. Now we're enjoying our life after retirement. I'm 95 now. Pearl is 92. So nobody believes that, but I never thought I'd be after a 92-year-old woman. but she still excites me.
How do you like that? That's on TV.
Wonderful.
That's it.
Well, I don't know if it's TV, but you can watch it on TV if you want, when we give you a copy.
Will anyone else see it?
Anybody who wants to, actually.
Oh, jeez.
But that's a great story. I don't know if there's anything else I should ask you. I mean, you have, of course, a little bit more about your siblings. Apparently, you know, how many siblings did you have, and where were they born? You know.
Well, I was one of 9 children. Some of them were born in Holland, and I think 3 of them were born in the United States. None of them are alive anymore. I'm the last survivor of the 9. I had 2 brothers and 6 sisters, and they're all passed on. So
And he was next to the youngest.
I was next to the youngest. Yeah, my youngest died some years ago. So that's all I can tell you. During all this time, I became a member of the fire department, Springdale Fire Department. Worked my way up to be captain. I was very good on the ambulance. I helped develop the ambulance system in Stamford with the aid of Dr. Levy, I guess it was. And
Harry Levine.
Oh, Harry Levine.
the nurse in the hospital
Yeah.
was Miss Colette. I distinctly remember. Between our 3, we managed to develop this ambulance system that is now the commercial ambulance system, really. So the volunteers are more or less out of it now, but we were all volunteers. So I spent some time in the emergency room as an assistant.
You delivered babies.
I've delivered babies.
Wow.
That was unplanned.
I've handled dead people. I've brought people to life by artificial respiration. They call it artificial perspiration because I get the perspiration. And I've taught CPR to members, and I helped develop the what do you call the amateur, not the members that EMTs, the emergency medical technician. There wasn't any before my time, but I helped develop that system too. So everybody had to get a license from the state and have real training. When I first started, they just took us off the street, stuck us in the ambulance and said, go help this person, she's dying. And we did what we could. But after a while, we had to take a course, training, so that we knew what we were doing, and we were quite successful. I think we saved a lot of lives, and we got a lot of thanks, and when we walked in the parade, everybody applauded. It was a big deal.
Great, great. What about some of your awards? Do you want us to video some of the things you got hanging on the wall, or you want to tell us about some of the
Well,
stuff?
that's from the fire department, awards from the fire department, and we got this thing from the state.
Do you want me to hold that, or?
For being a volunteer fire department.
Okay.
And other than that, we're more or less ordinary people.
Right. Well, you've definitely.
Did you grow up in Holland?
No, he was born
Did-
here.
You were born here?
No, born,
Born
I
here.
was born in New Jersey,
Yeah.
Point Pleasant, New Jersey.
So with a large family, how did your parents have enough money to support all the
My
children?
father was a tailor, quite successful. My mother was a homebody,
Mhm.
and my father came over first. He got a job, I opened his own place, and when he had enough, my mother came over with the children that she had at the time. And they came through Ellis Island. In fact, we've been to Ellis Island and looked up the records and so forth, and they were there, they came through, and they were quite successful. They had a Model T Ford, and that's where I learned to drive. And so we all progressed from there.
So did you go to college in New Jersey?
Just 2 years,
Uh-huh.
Long Branch Junior College.
What is your reflection now? You've been in Sanford so many years, from the time you came here to the way it looks, just generally downtown and all
Much
around.
different, much different. When we came, it was just a village, nice village, and we knew a lot of the people, but now it's all strangers and high buildings. There was none of those big buildings there when we came.
And this was the end of the street here, it was all woods.
Yeah. this
Our house
the
was the
end.
last house.
So they opened that up and built that up. They did a lot of building since we've been here. And the taxes went up tremendously. And that's about it.
Okay, well, thank you, Pearl and Joe. It was great. I mean,
Well, thank you very much.
very
for
interesting
listening.
stories.
Do you have any photographs you want us to put on the wedding picture, family
No.
pictures, or
I
anything?
can show you our wedding picture.
Yeah, why don't we
We
put
were
that on?
cute. We were a cute couple, I'll show you.
Pause it.
November 24th, 1938.
Okay. It's a great picture. And the other one is?
That's the way, we're pretty close to how we
Oh,
look
yeah, pretty much.
today.
Lift it up a little bit.
That was last year. That's-
Okay, great. What about your grandchildren?
Well, we have 3 grandchildren. One's in Hawaii, works for Budweiser, and then they're twin granddaughters. One's a pediatrician, the other is an actuary. One lives in South Windsor, one's in Pennsylvania. And we have 5.5 great-grandchildren. They're all doing very well,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Okay, Pearl and Joe, that was a really great interview. You did,
Don't forget your recorder.
yeah, so anyway, we thank you very much, and
Pleasure was
within a
ours.
few weeks, we'll have a DVD for you.
It was things I hadn't remembered even.
That's good, that's what it brings out.